All right, wall fans and all right, common sensors, and most importantly, all right, brewery fans. That's right, it's your favorite podcast host coming at you with yet another beer review. That's right, we are coming at you with Go Tell It to the Brewery beer review of, actually, we've got two beers this week, this particular review, both from Lagunitas. So we're looking at some Lagunitas beers for this particular Go Tell It to the Brewery review. And the first one I wanted to bring up is actually the Lagunitas IPA. Lagunitas IPA. It's a really standard, very standard IPA. If you're not familiar with Lagunitas, they are out of Petaluma, California. Don't know where Petaluma is? Yeah, I live in California. I had to double check where the heck Petaluma was myself. It's actually just north of the Bay Area in California. Don't know what the Bay Area is? That would be San Francisco, Oakland, you know, all that stuff. It's just north of there, kind of off the 101, Petaluma. Beautiful area of California. There's just not a lot going on out there, to be honest with you, but great area of California, and that's where Lagunitas sits as they brew all of their exciting brews throughout the year. And I say all of them because they have quite a few. I'm not going to get into all those, but I am talking about a couple of them. First one being the Lagunitas IPA, as I mentioned. This is pretty much your standard California IPA. Like, if you're into IPAs and you've had a lot of California IPAs, like Stone, Golden Road Brewing, really any of those IPAs, Sierra Nevada, any of those IPAs or pale ales, this is going to be right up there in that same kind of family with those, and that's the Lagunitas IPA. It's a little less hoppy than some other IPAs that I've mentioned, like Stone, but it's definitely still up there as far as taste and style, I would say. I'm not going to get into all the stupid like IBUs and let's talk about kind of water. No. It's a good beer, and it tastes good. And especially with Lagunitas, I can't be bringing that stuff up because I'll tell you, what I love about Lagunitas is that they don't care. They don't care. They're like, we're brewing beers. We're going to put out like 20 different beers a year, and we don't care. And we're going to be smart asses about it because we don't care. That's one of the great, they have great beer, but one of the other things I love about Lagunitas is they're super snarky. They're super snarky. Straight down to their founder of Lagunitas Brewery. Super snarky, kind of smart-assy, and just having fun with it, because that's what's important with beer, you know? I always joke about, like, the hipsters and the beer and the IBUs and everything else. Like, yeah, that's all a new thing. For those of us that are old-school beer drinkers, old school, I'm not even close to old school, but I have to call myself old school these days because beer, as my cousin puts it, has gotten so extra. Whatever that is, I don't understand. But for those of you that just like drinking good beer, Lagunitas IPA is one of them, especially if you like the hops. It's sitting right around 6.2, 6 or 6.2. So it's a little lower on the IPA spectrum when compared to some of the others, like Golden Road Brewing Point the Way IPA sitting at like 7.1, 7.2, somewhere in that range. So you're talking a little less alcohol than your typical IPA, but still high alcohol content compared to your everyday Bud Lights and like that kind of stuff, or your lagers or your pilsners that are sitting around 3.5 to 4, 4.5, or around there. Still sitting higher, but not quite as high as some of the IPAs or any of the imperial stouts that you might see out there. So check them out, Lagunitas IPA. But more importantly, what I want to talk about, because this is kind of one of their standards. You're going to find this everywhere. You're going to find Lagunitas IPA everywhere. It's a very standard IPA. I'm enjoying it. Don't pour it in a glass. It's like, that's a waste. Look at the head on it. No, it's an IPA. Drink it out the bottle. Call it a day. Come on. But the more important one I want to talk about, and this one actually comes on request from one of our subscribers on the YouTube channel, and that is the Lagunitas Little Sumpin Ale. Not something, Sumpin Ale. And this is actually, this is the snarkiness that comes out of Lagunitas. This is actually a limited release, but if you look closely, it's an unlimited release. It's a tasty one. And this one's interesting, like ridiculously interesting compared to, because we can talk about complexities and all this other stuff. The interesting thing about this one is usually when you're dealing with IPAs or pale ales or really anything that's hoppy, you're not going to get a lot of wheat in there. It's all about the hops. That's what they're very hop forward. However, with this one, you're getting a little bit of a wheat taste to it, interestingly. I know, it seems weird. It's an ale, but you get a little bit of a wheat beginning to it, but then you get that hoppy undertone at the end. So if you're someone that's a big fan of hoppiness, but you like a little smoothness to it, Lagunitas Little Sumpin Ale is where you want to go, because you're going to get that hoppiness, but it's a little smoother on the start. I will tell you that right now as I take a sip. But the important thing to remember with this one is, despite the fact that it's a little smoother than your typical IPA or even your session pale ale, this one's got a high alcohol content. It's actually sitting higher than this IPA, which is strange because usually when you're dealing with breweries, their IPAs are going to be their higher alcohol content. So this Lagunitas IPA sitting at about 6.2. This little Sumpin sitting at 7.5. 7.5. That's fairly high even for an IPA. So be aware of that as you're going out and getting some of your little something, that it does have a higher alcohol content. And it's not going to taste quite as hoppy as like your typical IPA, especially compared to the Lagunitas IPA, but you're going to get that alcohol content. So don't start drinking these thinking you're drinking a wheat beer, a Hefeweizen, because it may taste a little bit that way, but it's not that low alcohol content like a Hefeweizen. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Hefeweizen. I try. I'm not extra enough to be pronouncing the beers correctly, but we're going to try. We're going to keep it going. Go tell it to the brewery. So check out Lagunitas in general. Like, even if you're not a beer drinker, just check out their website because it's fun. They have some fun content up there, and that's one of the reasons I really like them, aside from the taste of the beer. But definitely check out Lagunitas IPA out of Petaluma, California. And a little more rare, I won't say it's hard to find because you can find it, but you're not going to see as much of it as the IPA, would be the Little Something Ale. So check that one out as well. Both of them out of Lagunitas, which, as I mentioned, is out of Petaluma, California. That's like North California. It's up there. It's up there. So check them out. And remember, Wall fans, common sensors, and go tell to the brewery fans, no matter where you drink, no matter who you're drinking with, no matter what it is you're drinking, and especially no matter why you're drinking, always, always drink with common